Anyone knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but you can. Here to offer high hopes in tree transplanting is Doug Maurer, president of Brian Kyle's Landscapes of Distinction.
Well, let's get one thing straight. This is not a rubber tree plant, but this is actually a flowering crabapple. Flowers nicely in the spring, and usually as it matures, this is a young tree, we'll have some fruits on it in the fall for the birds to pick off. Now this is what we call a B&B tree, bald and burlap. Actually, if you want to be technical, BB and W. W for wire. It's got a wire basket on it. Now this burlap will rot away. This plant was dug and purchased in the spring. It's now August. It's been in a ready bed. You can see the roots already coming out of the sack. That's a good sign. Nice healthy top to it. On a freshly dug tree in the spring, the leaves will be a little smaller than they are normally. Next year, the leaves and the roots will be adjusted and the leaves will be just fine. So what we want to show you here is a little bit of tips on how to plant this tree. Now, homeowners probably won't be dealing with a tree this size. I don't know, this ball probably weighs a couple, 200-300 pounds. It's fairly heavy. But there are tricks to maneuvering it, and what you want to do if you plant a tree like this, or if you go to the nursery and you buy a tree that's in a container, you want to make sure when you plant that tree, you plant that tree a little bit higher than what it was growing at the nursery, which is the top of this burlap, or in a potted tree, just the top of the potting soil itself. And what you'll do then is put your dirt around it, your mulch on top of it, and in our soils you want to keep it up maybe 2 to 4 inches higher than the existing ground and above what it was growing in the nursery. To accomplish that, when you dig the hole, do not dig the hole too deep. Dig it the same size as the depth that you want to go with this ball. If you dig it too deep, make sure you pack it back in before you put the tree in there, because that ground, when you water it, will soften up into mud and that tree will sink, and then it will be below. And then, as I have explained in other videos, too much water is a bad thing. So the idea is to adjust the amount of water that this is getting in its first season. Now, in order to plant this, we dug a hole a bit wider than what the ball is itself. We want to make sure this fits. Not a snow cone. We don't want it that tight. Then we've got the soil that came out. It's always pretty good to use that soil that came out. Some people will bring in the absolute most premium soil. Hey, this tree's got to send its roots out for 20, 30 feet. It's going to be in this soil regardless. Just put it in, give it a little tender loving care that first year or two, give it a little nicety when you put it in, but unless that original soil is absolute garbage, you pretty much want to use it. But you can amend it. Here we have leaf compost. These are decomposed leaves picked up from the cities in your yards last fall. It's decomposed, we've ground it up, and we have a nice product. What we do then is mix it with the soil that came out as we backfill around this tree. Now I've already got the hole dug. We want to get the tree in the ground. If I can handle this in a dignified fashion, we'll see what we can do. It almost handled me. As you see, a homeowner probably doesn't want to tackle one of these, especially if it's the lady of the house is the gardener. You might want to call us for some help on that. You might even want to get one of my guys to help me. But once we've got it in position here, we want to keep it straight. And I'm pushing it straight right now, so in order to get it straight, we put a little dirt in on this one side. Step it in. And now the tree is resting. As best I can see, and my producer says, it's straight. So it's straight. Now, what we want to do is mix a little topsoil, a little leaf compost, and we want to use that for our backfill. So as we mix this up, it doesn't have to be perfectly mixed. Sometimes you can do a shovel of this and a shovel of that. It'll all get down in the same place. You want to fill it up about halfway, all the way around. Once you've accomplished that, You want to take your foot and firm this soil in. That'll prevent the tree from settling, shifting, and going in a different direction. Now, I don't have time nor the energy to finish this off. I'll get one of my guys, but I'll talk you through the rest of it. As we continue to backfill up around the tree, using our good soil, the next thing we're going to do, when it's all filled up, flush with the top of the bulb, nothing on top, we're going to make a ring. And we'll continue this all the way around the tree. So we'll have like a saucer around this tree. We'll then take the garden hose and flood it in. Let it soak in. Once it's all soaked in, leave this little mound, take your mulch, and mulch over the ball and up to this little saucer that we have. That'll help us in watering it that first season. A little bit of mulch on top and over it. And if you use your imagination, you'll have the finished product. Now, the last thing you probably want to do is stake the tree. The way you'd want to stake a tree this size, probably a 2x2 stake. Drive it in the ground at a 45-degree angle. Take a piece of somewhat flexible wire, maybe a piece of garden hose, an old holy hose or something that's going into rubbish, cut it up into a length, wrap that hose around the wire, wrap that in a figure 8 around this tree so that the hose is the only thing contacting this bark. Then tie it onto your stake and you'll be good. Now, in a perfect world, that'll work just fine. We don't live in a perfect world. Chances are, even staked, you'll find that the tree might go a little crooked with wind, watering, whatever. It always happens. Don't worry about it. What you want to do, don't apply too much pressure to the trunk of the tree. You want to come in on the side. Remember, I told you this one was wired in a wire basket. Get that shovel down in there and then pry it gently back into position. Once you've got it back into position, stomp the soil down in and it'll be just fine. Usually you'll find it'll settle once, a little crooked, you straighten it and it'll be fine.
Thanks,
so there
Doug.
You go.
Thank you, Doug. This has been part of the Brian Kyles Landscapes of Distinction How-To series. To learn more, please visit www.briankyles.com or visit our YouTube page at youtube.com/BrianKyles.